What's going on, moms and dads? Welcome to the Fade You podcast, episode 163, previewing NFL Week 8. We had to get this started quickly because Chris and Joe are yelling at each other about nothing for 5 minutes, which is par for the course. What are we doing?
Oh, no, I'm just telling Chris that he's fucking stupid per usual.
Well, Chris?
I am. I just think Jay, so that's all. He's wearing a San Francisco hat in Indianapolis, so sick. He's got to take his fandom on the road, and that's fine.
Yeah. Well, we're off to a roaring start. My name is Matthew James, at Matthew James 78 on Twitter, joined by the odd couple that just can't ever get along. We got Chris Duke here at Hazmat Suit 23. We got Joe here at Joe_knows____. And Kmart, how you doing over there?
I think I'm slowly recovering from the 1-4 weekend with my team.
Ooh. Yeah, we got to give a SuperContest update here in a moment. He's on Twitter at Kmarts_angles. All right, week 7 in the books. We had some carnage within that group. We had a lot of really nice weeks where everybody had a winning week for a while there. And then week 7 happened. We have a contest consensus, fell on its face. Joe and I were able to get by with 3-2 in a tough week. And then Chris goes 1-4. Kmart, Neil go 1-4. Tough week, everybody. Tough to turn the page and look ahead to week 8, but we ready to find some winners?
Sure as hope so.
There's no hope. We give winners. That's what we're going to do.
I wish.
I mean, I did give Bengals last week. I didn't know we had Obama on the pod, so that's good.
Yeah, we're not going to hope. We're going to give winners. Joe, yours last week, just to recap the ones we really focused on. The Patriots, you texted me Monday night. We didn't know that the Chicago Bears were now the Kansas City Chiefs on offense. So nice game plan, right. Belichick. Good job. So New England, obviously, not good. Chris gave out Jacksonville, also not good. The Giants just continue to get disrespected by the books. I'm sure we'll touch on them here in a few minutes. I gave out the Browns, and thank God that didn't go to overtime because that had push written all over it. They did cover the 6. Kyle, you just can't get off Denver, so sorry about that. We were texting in the group this morning about some of the worst head coaching hires, and dads, we had some good names. Anybody want to talk about some of those names we threw out? I mean, I threw out Freddie Kitchens, and you guys kind of topped it with a couple real doozies.
I mean, Chip Kelly is probably my least favorite person ever.
Not right now. He's kicking ass at UCLA.
He's still one of my least favorite.
Nobody cares about what you care about. We're talking about the worst coaches in the NFL.
And he was one. 2-14. Good job.
He was really bad with San Francisco. Tom Sula.
He made it farther than a lot of coaches did. Herb's
probably an all-timer. Who else did we talk about? Gase. We talked about Ben McAdoo. Chris, you had a good one.
What was Patricia's record on the Lions? Was it also like 2-14?
I mean,
very bad.
Brought up Steve Spurrier. You got Nick Saban, who wasn't very good either.
A lot of the college guys, really, really bad.
Mr. Matt Rule.
Yeah, speak of the devil. So, good luck with Hackett. If anybody else is looking at Denver, we'll see if Kyle's back on Denver this week here in a minute. And then I think the other one, Neil, like Tennessee, that got there. Neil ended up being right about the Vrabel shit. So congrats, Neil. Hopefully Neil will join us here in a few minutes. But
was that the one in their contest?
No, my Bengals were in the contest.
Jesus Christ! So you guys are giving out plays on here as your best bet that don't even make the contest?
I don't. Well, he wasn't even on it. I gave it out for him and gave the reason, and then I forget why it didn't even make his top 3. It wasn't. I forget why. If he makes it on, he'll have.
Does Neil's picks even count now? I don't think they do.
I don't think anybody's
on a Wednesday. At this point. We're just saying what our cock feels funny and what really we like, right?
I guess. I would say that's kind of bullshit.
We can personally like it and it cannot make the entry. That's happened with me a couple times, specifically on the Cowboys, where on Wednesday I'm feeling it. And then, when you share an entry with multiple people, everybody wants input. Sometimes you get shut out. And that's happened to me. And I've liked losers on Wednesday that get left out. And so it all depends. I mean, we are previewing this really early in the week. Opinions change throughout the course of the week, so it's fine. But standings update. So Joe is still in the lead at 24-11. Joe, are you 20th place? Kind of right around there overall?
T20, baby. We're two and a half points off the lead.
Yeah, the leader, the Super Contest overall leader is 26-8-1. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so 26-8-1. Joe just 2.5 back of the overall lead, up in the top 20. I'm one behind Joe at 23-12. Chris is one behind me at 22-13. And then Kmart and Neil, man, you guys had an opening there to at least catch Chris after his bad week. But you guys also went 1-4, so fuck.
Yeah, I'm about to leave this pod. I'm still pissed off.
You know what? I was really pissed off watching the Patriots Monday. And I told myself I'm going to be pissed off for about 90 more minutes. And then we're going to turn the page. We're going to focus on week 8. So I expect everybody to get their shit together. And we're on to week 8. All right.
I live in the past. Sorry.
For us to go 1-4 and I'm only 4.5 back and you're probably like 6.5 back, that's really not that bad. The guy at the top can have a few shitty weeks and we can kill it and be right in the thick of it. So let's go.
Yeah, there's one dude with a solo lead and it's half a point. So
yeah,
I mean, fuck, he can go 1-4 and everybody else is right there.
And that guy went 2-3 last week. So maybe regression is about to smack that guy in the ass. And he'll be, another 1-4, another 2-3, a 1-3-1, and everybody's catching that asshole. So, all right, so that's where we're at. And Joe, you still are first on the tee. So what are you looking at for week 8, Dad?
Sorry, I was trying not to get blinded by Chris's bald spot going through the window here. But I'm going to go with Indianapolis -3. Still the line, but the fucking contest made it 2.5. And it pains me because I'm going to hop off the Commander train, which I've been riding for a couple weeks, and it's been hot. But I think getting a new quarterback in there, the Texans, Sam Ehlinger, and I think their defense is good enough. I don't know, man. It's kind of a smelly fave here because Washington coming off an emotional victory. All the bets and money are on Washington. So I'm not going to ride the consensus like Chris 3 of 5 last week. I'm going to go with the opposite side and bet on the Colts.
Oh, Joe, you have a crystal ball. You know who's going to be the consensus. That's good. Please let us know.
I'm not talking about this week. I'm talking about last week. Mr. Consensus had 3 of 5.
Okay.
We were high on the Colts going into the season, Kmart. Do you have any opinion on the Colts with this QB change? I mean, we kind of know what we're going to expect from Washington. Like, their defense is going to get a little bit of pressure. Heineke's going to make some decent throws. He's going to make some throws that are interception worthy. But I think this play is all about what can we expect from the Colts following the benching of Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking on the Colts side too. I have nothing on the opposite side. I was given no love for the Commandos, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, even with new quarterback, I was looking at DVOA, for the Colts, still a decent rush defense overall on that side. And that's kind of where I'm looking for them to get enough stops and just hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, get enough screens to Naheem Hines, get something to Pittman. I think he's talented enough. So as long as they can not turn the ball over 3 times, I don't know if it's going to make our picks, but I definitely agree with that side. I don't know.
What's funny is I think the Colts are 32nd in turnovers and Washington's 29th. So we're going to have a good, fun turnover-filled game.
That's Matt Ryan, though. Is that going to keep the trend going with the new guy back there?
Ellinger ain't moving a line.
Yeah, Ryan and Wentz.
Yeah,
they're gone.
Yeah. So I don't think it matters.
Well, I mean, it's the known versus the unknown, right? You know that Ryan was probably good for a fumble and a pick, and with Ellinger, we don't know. I mean, it could be anything. It could be, all right, he protects the ball. They don't ask him to do a lot. It could also be he tries to make some throws because he's now in there, and he has some turnover-worthy plays too. So, got to be honest, Joe, I don't love the pick. I don't love this. I don't love the surprise benching. I think the locker room is kind of like, what the fuck is going on? I read that Ryan Kelly, the center today, he was asked about it, and he said the response was mixed. He says, I'm not going to get into everybody's opinion, but it's everybody's a little bit surprised. So, I mean, I understand buying low on the Colts for sure. I certainly don't know if I would pick Washington again, but I think the questioning of this coach's decision, was this even the coach's decision? Is the owner meddling at this point? I think there's still too many questions around Indy for me to personally take it.
Well, dude, Jim Irsay is a crazy motherfucker. He's probably doing lines of coke right now, like 3 miles away from the stadium, which I am in Indianapolis.
Probably right where you're at. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I should give him a call and hang out with him tonight. That'd be fun. Anyways,
Matt Ryan's probably available to meet you for a drink.
Good call. Maybe we should figure it out. Let's text Kelly. Maybe she's got a hook up in Indianapolis with Matt Ryan's number.
I mean, for the Colts, it's kind of like now or never, right? They got to get the season back on track at some point. So you would think this would be a spot where they can band together and make it happen. But Neil, you got any thoughts on the Colts game? Really interesting one. Joe's loving Indy. That's the one he's looking at.
Yeah, I was going to be leaning with the commies and taking Washington. I think, Matt, sort of what you alluded to, which was what's the purpose of this move? Because I read an article where they said that the purpose of the move was that they cannot risk Matt Ryan getting injured going into next season because of the contract obligation. So the purpose of sitting him right now was so that he doesn't get injured, because if he ends up on IR and can't start off the next year, then they have the full cap hit. Whereas if he ends this season and gets to the net and is healthy, but they cut him, they're not obligated to pay him. They save like $17 million in cap space. So the thought was in this article, and I forget who I think Schefter retweeted it. So it's not coming like out of left field, but the thought process was that this move was simply a $17 million cap space saver, not even necessarily. So making it the assumption that this has nothing to do with performance, though Matt Ryan's playing like shit. I get it, but it's not necessarily to say that Ellinger's outplaying him, in practice, or that there's a shot in the arm, that this is strictly a financial saving move because they can't risk Ryan getting hurt.
I call bullshit on that take. Yeah, because fucking Schefter never retweets dumb shit. But yeah, dude, there's no way they're trying to win right now. And they're going to play the quarterback that's going to do the best. And obviously it's not Matt Ryan, so you got to try something else. That's a horseshit take. I hate it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, nobody's running away with the division, so the Colts are still very much in it. So
exactly.
Definitely a surprising move. And we have no idea what to expect from Ellinger. So I guess apparently he played well in the preseason. What was he, a 6th round pick? Or was he earlier?
I think he was 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, he's a late guy.
He's a day three guy. And I know from Fade You, we tweeted at Ralph Michaels. We're going to hopefully get a word on that. We're trying to find just a QB making his first career start as a favorite. Chris, I thought that was a good comment by you. We want to see what the deal with that is. So good luck to Colts backers. Good luck. I'm going to look at the Cardinals this week. I like them off of a little bit extra rest, and I know the Vikings are off a bye, but Kirk Cousins is 2-5 in his career. ATS off a bye. It's not great. And we're getting a shit number here because the best number is long gone. The look ahead here was Vikings 6.5. Now it's only 3.5 for the contest. I still think this is a role that Arizona typically does well in as a road underdog. Offense definitely looked a little better with Hopkins back. It's really a shame that we can't see what this looks like with Hopkins and Hollywood. I think that could actually be kind of a fun, exciting offense. And Minnesota, I think I was looking to fade them following their 5-1 start. They really didn't deserve to win in Miami. They were badly outgained. The Dolphins turned it over. They got a chance to play the second and third string quarterback in that game. So I'm looking to fade Minnesota a little bit, being kind of overvalued, and Arizona might have something here with Hopkins back. So I'm looking at Arizona plus 3.5.
Good for you.
I sent this to my group the other day, so
no one's gonna talk, and then we're just gonna all talk at once. Great.
I mean, I don't want to say the same shit you just said. Like, I just don't want to keep agreeing with everybody, but I'm not betting the opposite side. You know, I sent to Neil, Lance, and Kyle that I had my worst week last week, and maybe I've lost my mind because the Cardinals look like an amazing play this week. You know, for some of those reasons, and I'm not. You know, I like Minnesota. I mean, we have all those futures on them, or I do, but I just haven't been, you know, that impressed by, you know, what I've seen out of them. And I mean, I disagree with you on the fact their offense looked. I mean, yeah, I guess it looked better because it's looked like dog shit, but all it was Hopkins. You know, Benjamin breaks away here and there, 2 pick sixes. They don't get those pick sixes, they probably fucking lose that game. So
I don't know about that. That definitely skews that result for sure.
I mean, it's tied at 14, and then, you know, 2 pick sixes. Yeah. So we can go back and forth on that all day, but I don't think anyone can win that.
Well, it's hard to put any stock in the second half because it was all garbage time at that point. Just from the first, obviously they looked horrible in Seattle, and then they definitely looked like they had a little bit. Now, I think the defense has looked a little better too. They allowed 20 to Philly, they allowed 19 to Seattle, and that's been a really efficient offense. And then they did allow the 14 in the first half to the Saints, and then the game got silly. The one thing that gives me a little bit of hesitation, you're going to hear this narrative, there is a new Call of Duty coming out, and Kyler Murray might be a little distracted. That's the one thing that could maybe make me second guess this play. But I'm going to just hope that Kyler can just kind of leave the Xbox back in Arizona, go on the road, get the job done, and then he can play Call of Duty all next week.
Is that because he plays more Xbox than he looks at the playbook?
It's because he loves video games more than football. So that's exactly what you want in your franchise, however many $1 million quarterback.
Yeah, Matthew, I like Arizona, but what's scaring me is everybody's on Arizona.
Yeah,
at this point.
Public. Yep.
And I don't like that. Do not like that. So it's probably a stay away, but maybe lean Arizona. But hey, who knows? Square dogs win too.
I will say that this season, and maybe this will change, I'm much less scared off by the square dog this season than I have been in the past. I just think this is a what the fuck season where nobody knows what's up. Yeah, ask Seattle bettors how that was last week. I mean, that was the right side all the way.
Correct.
I mean, the turnovers happened, but I mean, the Chargers chargered. And so, yeah, the square dog thing, I mean, I stayed away from it earlier in the season because Dallas was a square dog, and they ended up being just fine. So doesn't really bother me too much. It's probably going to be about a 70-30 ticket count. Maybe there will be some buyback on Minnesota now that the number has gone down. I don't really give a fuck.
What's it in contest?
But wager talk, like, you know,
it's still 3.5. Yeah,
we have all this skewed info. Like, that's the thing that's just crazy. You know, is it public? Is it not? You got Action Network, which Joe is referencing at 70-85. And then you got Wager Talk, where it's kind of split, 59 tickets, 51 money. So it's like, what do you go off of? What do you believe? Who's right?
I mean, it's hard to tell. I think Action Network, for the most part, is correct, but they do have some weird shit that happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's all going to vary book to book too. you use that, but don't let that be your sole basis for making a decision of what the action
my point is just how useful is it? Like if there's so many systems out there like this, but they all are different. Like what's the use of any of them?
Sure.
Yeah, last week Kmart showed us that picture of the Seahawks getting all the fucking tickets and money, and then I go to covers and it looks like it's 50-50. I was like, maybe it's not a square dog. This looks like a little more even action. So, and then sure enough, it was the fucking easiest dog of the week. But man, that was. But yeah, you never know. I agree with you, Matt. I mean, Giants were pretty square. Everyone on the Giants. I think they're on them again this week. They're on the Jets all the way from +3 down to what -2 at closed. So. I agree with you. This year might just be like dogs are fucking cashing. Unders are, a lot of people are afraid to take unders. They think it's going to regress. It's like, dude, the defenses are playing well. Just fucking dogs and unders ride it till it fucking, it doesn't win anymore.
Right. But I think that we're still early, man. It's only week 8. We're halfway through the season. I think it could correct this season. All the square plays could go to shit maybe starting next week. Who knows? Obviously, shout out Dave Sharapan. Nobody knows shit, but I think that's not a horrible narrative to think that it would switch,
Very well could. I mean, Joe's right. We are still relatively early in the season. We're 7 weeks in. We got 18 total weeks, so still not even halfway yet. So a lot of this could change. But for now, I'm going to keep riding with what's working. So let's go Arizona. Chris, where are you looking?
Yeah, I will say too, if you lean dogs, like it's never, I think it's, even if it's a public dog, the book still probably would like that dog to win outright. Like we said, like it kills all the teasers, it kills all the money line parlays. So I think you're never going to be like that. I would always lean dog, even if someone says, oh man, everybody likes that dog. Yeah, well, it's still going to, the books still like it. But I'm looking at a fucking disgusting dog, and I think we're going to for sure have it in because Riley texted it too. Our last week we had some conflicting fucking plays, and we played we looked like shit 1-4. This week we kind of align. I think Lions is for sure going to get in. I think I've said it since the beginning of his career. I think Tua is fucking way overrated. He should have had 14 interceptions on Sunday Night Football. I guess the Steelers, that's why they're on defense and not wide receivers because they can't fucking catch. And the Lions, they played the Cowboys fucking tough, man. They held them to 10 points until it got a little weird in the fourth quarter. And, doesn't help that Goff threw a bunch of picks and fumbled on the 1 or 2 yard line. They could have for sure covered. So I think they're getting a little undervalued here. I think they'll come out hot and we're getting 3.5 in the contest, lose by a field goal and we cover. I'm going to take the Lions and hopefully they can play a little bit of D and maybe Goff can just not fucking turn the ball over this time, but not holding my breath.
Chris, are you telling me that 5 second half turnovers isn't a little fluky? Is that bad?
No. Just a bit, Father. Just a bit.
Well, yeah, we've never seen that from Goff. So,
Little hands.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so you've got. I think Detroit has the worst record in the league right now. Are they currently slotted for the number 1 pick?
Are they one
in? Yeah,
because Texans are 1-4-1.
Right. Lions are the worst record in the league, and yet you're only getting. Is it 3.5? Are we at 3.5 now?
It's 3.5, yeah.
Okay, because the look ahead was 3, so that's interesting. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too popular, Chris. Only taking the Lions at that short of a number. What do people think of this one?
I like it. I thought Tua looked like garbage outside of that first drive that he had. He was missing everything Chris referenced. He should have thrown 5 picks. He was terrible, and it's going to kind of go into the game that I wanted to talk about. But I mean, Detroit hung right in there with the Cowboys. I mean, they fumbled the ball at the 1 yard line, right? Otherwise, they're punching in for 7. They were kind of right in there. Going back home to Detroit, home dog. I like it. I think the Miami hype is way too much.
And they got Swift back. Amon St. Brown. should play. He was limited today, but get their weapons back, when their offense was at least putting up points. So defensively, just take Tua's head off and you're probably good.
Yeah, I would have liked Miami to kick that field goal and cover, maybe win by more. I'm surprised they laid a goose egg in the second half. It would have been nice for them to look a little better on primetime, but I guess it's Vegas is still making it. Why is it not 4? Why is it not 5? Or even, 6. I don't get it. It's kind of a what the fuck line.
Yeah, so Goff has all those turnovers. It's one thing to have Dallas pressure you into a bunch of turnovers. That's one of the best defenses in the league with the literal highest pressure rate in the league. Miami's 3rd lowest. So this should be a better position for Goff at home. The only thing that would worry me is on that fast track in the dome on turf, Miami could just burn right by this godforsaken Lions defense. If those receivers get out there and get revved up and get running, it could be a long day for that Lions D. So
maybe Tyreek Hill finally tears his ACL because he's such a good human being.
Kyle, you've only been asking for that for about 5 years. So
Dude,
maybe.
That's very mean to say.
It's also very mean to hit your pregnant wife and then your son when he's born. But
that's true.
Let's just give him the Achilles so he can feel my pain.
Oh, man. I'd love to see crippled, torn Achilles Chris laughing at somebody else for tearing an Achilles. That's how it feels, bitch. That would be pretty silly. All right. Kmart, you're up next. Or Neil, whoever wants to go first.
Well, it's got to be Broncos, right? Neutral site. It's got to be. Wilson coming, but no, fuck that.
I was going to say,
I'm going to go with Green Bay.
No, let me go, Kyle, because I know what you're going to. I don't know, but I know what you're going to take, and it'll be the longer discussion. So let me get mine out of the way. So I'm, like I said, I already alluded to it. I love the Bears plus 9.5. Wish it was 10, but Bears plus 9.5. If we look at this again, it goes back. Dallas looked terrible. Dak is not right. There's something wrong. The fact that this team that Dallas had 10 points against the Detroit Lions at halftime, or what, straight through the third quarter, and then they get 2 short fields and they're able to punch in 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to cover and get really what was a gift cover. And the one thing that I like what the Bears can do, the Bears can run the football. We know Dallas's defense is great, but they're great at getting pressure. They're only 20th in the league in rush yards per game defensively. So you have what should be, I think, a low-scoring game. I think it's kind of like that inverse related, like everyone's going to look and be like, oh, the Bears just beat the Pats. Like they're a play-on team. Like I hate that maybe you get a little square dog and then people just hate betting against Dallas anyways. But I just think for what it's going to be, I think this Dallas team offensively is not right, and they've sort of been riding their defense. And I think this is the position where Chicago's going to be able to just continue to move the ball on the ground with that rushing attack. Fields should be able to elude some of the pressure that they're going to bring on him. So I like sort of that fact. And I'll take 9 points off of what was, from Dallas's perspective, sort of a misleading cover that they had last week.
Neil, that's just so terrible.
Thanks.
Like everything we say is what, forget what you just saw, and you're just like, oh, this and that. They didn't do this. They look terrible.
They both covered. Both teams covered.
I know. I'm just saying, it's just kind of funny, where you started there. I don't know. When I first looked at it, I definitely leaned on the Cowboys side. Just Bears aren't very good blocking offensively. I did like what I saw last week, but you kind of get a lot of neutralization on a wet field. So how much of that was them actually looking good versus just things kind of playing into their nature? What, 2 of their 3 wins are in rainstorms? Was their 3rd win in a rainstorm? Maybe. I can't remember.
Houston, right?
Yeah,
I don't think the weather was. Okay. I think it was okay.
Okay. So yeah, it's just I don't know. For me, I don't really have skin in it, but I definitely laying all those points.
I tend to agree with Kyle, mainly because I think Monday Night Football was an anomaly. And the Bears were scoring 15 points a game prior to that. They score 40 plus. Okay, cool. Are they going to do it again at Jerry World? What do we think?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So can the Cowboys score enough to cover that spread? That's the question.
Well, and I think another question off of that question is, what can the Cowboys do if they're not getting turnovers? Because, I mean, all those points in the second half were off, literally all of them off turnovers. I mean, the Lions went like fumble, punt, interception, fumble on their 5 drives in the second half. So this is, I think there's a lot of unknowns in this game. I think that's a tricky one. I could honestly see it going either way. Chris, let's get you in here. You were on the Bears on Monday night. You would typically like this poop. Would you be worried that everybody just saw the Bears look way better on Monday night and that they may regress back to scum?
A little bit. Didn't it open 10.5? Did it get hit pretty early? Is it down to 9.5? So a little bit of maybe some people thought that it was good catching over double digits, and now, like Neil said, it's on a tick under. Like I said before, I mean, the books are still going to need the Bear. They're going to like them to win outright and cover again. But yeah, I don't know. It is, like Joe said, a couple fluky things. There were a lot of fumbles in that rain on Monday, and the Bears happened to fall on all of them. I mean, it didn't help that the Patriots 3rd and 16, they just let fucking Fields do whatever he wanted, and it was unbelievable. He looked like freaking Lamar and Michael Vick and Culpepper all in one. Crazy. But yeah, I don't know. This is one, like Kyle said, I probably will stay away just because of those 2 games looking so fluky, but I'm not sure. Let those 2 teams duke it out and see how scummy Dak looks week 2 coming back off the injury.
And I
Go ahead,
Joe. I hate the narrative that the Bears are a good rushing team because their offensive line fucking sucks. Fields was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, but their rushing numbers are skewed by the fact that he can run like a motherfucker. You don't think that the Cowboys can contain him? I mean, they have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL.
And last point, what is Dallas going to score? Dallas averages 19.1 points a game. Chicago's in at 18. So Dallas's offense is not scoring.
Yeah, but the Bears were 15 before the 42-point output.
Understood.
That was also with Cooper Rush.
Still covering 10.
Right.
You still have coverage.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So that gets you to 4. And I mean, home team, I mean, right. I'm just saying to the argument that the Cowboys offense is going to put up points. They haven't shown the ability to all year either. This is a big number for a team that has not been offensively challenged.
Yeah, but Dak's only played I don't know, maybe 12 quarters.
And he's been awful.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a huge fan.
Right, we're talking about Cooper.
Go off how we looked last
Cooper
week.
Rush.
Coming back is, I mean, Jimmy G looked like shit too. Then he looked better. Now he looks like Jimmy G.
Well, the fact that the Cowboys only put up 3 points against Tampa Bay is not aging well.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, they only had 3 points at half against the Lions, but you have to look at the Cowboys have played really good D. I mean, you could say the Rams D is pretty good. They played the Bengals. We're now seeing the Bengals D is fucking great, especially in the second half. They played the Eagles D. They're really good. They played a lot of tough defenses, and so you have to say, is this Bears D gonna step up like the Ds they've played in the Bucs? So.
Favorites of 7 points or more this season, 8 and 16 against the spread. So,
Neil, who do you think I'm going with? Since you so nicely cut me off.
What's the jersey behind you?
No, I even said it. That's how I know you weren't listening.
There's no chance
after all that.
He wouldn't do it.
There's no way. The Packers. He's taking the Pack.
Yeah, I'm going with Green Bay plus 11.5. Like, how do I not take Aaron Rodgers? Like, I'll take that bite. Giving me over 10 points for the first time in his career, apparently. But it's not even that. They almost feel like the NFC version of the Ravens, where they get out to leads and shit. Against the Giants, they looked unstoppable. Then the second half came, and they looked like I don't even know. Against the Jets, okay, tied at 3, then just a bunch of crazy stuff happened. All right, that stuff happens in a football game week by week. And then last week, I was driving, but I thought I saw them up 14-3. Looked like they were moving. Then depending on what side you're on, it seemed like maybe Washington got some things going their way. You know, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Bills very good. Yeah. But 11.5, like they have 2 beast running backs. Our offensive line is shaky, but
how many wide receivers do they have?
I mean, Watson should play. I know, like I was just getting there with the receivers, but Watson should be playing. It's crazy. Dobbs just got zeroed out last week, but I don't know. Another week with Rodgers, I feel like they're gonna do something. I mean, I'm sure shit not gonna fucking win by 12 with the Bills. Because I mean, worst case, give me a back door. Give me that garbage time. Matt was talking about with the Thursday night game. Like that's just a lot of points.
I really wish that the ginger fat fuck Jared was on this podcast to talk about the Bills.
Yeah,
he's not said anything about the Bills, so I can't assume anything. But I would be surprised if he's not leaning towards Bills.
I bet a lot of people are. Like honestly, it wasn't really anything until I didn't even really care when it was at 10 and 10.5. It was when it kept going to 11.5. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna bite it. Like coming into this, like it might have been Niners, but I'm actually leaning towards taking the Rams just because they beat them so many straight times in the regular season, and everybody expects it to happen. Like
if Kyle's not betting the Niners, I'll tear my own Achilles.
Like,
there's no way.
Well,
We haven't talked about it, but
way.
sure
I
Niners
mean,
are
I
rolling
did
their
bet
cards.
the Bengals -3 the other day because I knew it was going to go up, but I'm not playing that at 3.5 because that's nasty all over it.
To Chris's point, like you said, to Chris's point, he said he needs like the book needs dogs. The book's going to need the motherfucking Bills here because everybody is going to go, oh, Aaron Rodgers +10. I'll take that. I think so, dude.
I thought early bets were on the Bills. Didn't they take the line from 10 up to like 12 or something early?
I just looked. It said 80% of money on Bills.
Yeah.
I bet it's going to be. I bet it's going to be pretty split.
Big question.
He meant 80% of the money on Packers, but again, it's.
No, I didn't.
No,
I said
that's what you meant because that's what it is on action. It's 80% of the money on
Bills.
the Packers.
On Bills.
The money, yeah.
I mean,
money on Bills.
I know what you said, but what I'm looking at right here, it's 49 bets on Packers, 80 money.
No. Oh, you're right, Kyle. Sorry. You're right.
I'm just interested in
So say it again the right way so everyone isn't confused.
Kyle, but like on Wager Talk, he got 39% tickets and 16% of money on Green Bay. So like that's what I'm trying to say. Like throughout this show, it's like you can't just look at one and you can't just. I don't think any of it means anything. Like I think people like to make narratives about money here, money there. Books always win. Fade this, fade that. But Chris made it a good point of even if you're on a square dog, most fucking idiots are still going to take a favorite in their parlays and all that bullshit. Like, I don't think any of this shit matters, but it's got so blown out of proportion. It's just like you almost look to it to have like that warm, fuzzy feeling like, oh, I'm on the right side. But I'll go to my grave saying Denver was the right side last week. Like,
Hackett.
That was the old saying.
Hackett.
Hackett's a prick like his fucking father.
Is the right side the winning side? Kyle says
exactly.
I would say the right side. I mean, Kyle, it's all subjective. Like, I mean, bets and money. I agree with you. I think people do use it too often to like give themselves confirmation bias, where they're like, the money's on the side I'm on, but the tickets aren't. So that must be RLM, and I'm on the right side. But I think right side is subjective as well. I mean, you watch the game depending on what side you're on, and you feel like stuff either goes against you if you lose the bet, or if it goes your way, then sure. Like Taylor Heineke last week, I don't know. I mean, some of this shit gets a little out of hand too, but they said that he threw like 5 interception worthy passes or something like that. And so it's like, okay, well, did Washington get lucky those weren't picked off? Who the fuck knows? But I mean, it's so popular with this bet percentage, money percentage stuff that, I mean, sometimes you got to just ignore all that noise and just be like, what am I seeing with my eyes? What do I think is going to happen? I'm going to go with that rather than just look for a bunch of numbers that validate my pick.
Well, not necessarily, Matt. What about you saying literally nobody wants the fucking scum Panthers? Look at that. How did that go for all the Bucks bettors? But like we said, you're going to look, oftentimes, like Kyle said, those fucks are going to go to Vegas on vacation. They're going to be like, I need to pick 5 or 6 teams. They're going to throw the fucking Eagles and the Cowboys and the Bills. Everyone, right? They'll best risk 100.
6 the past couple weeks. It's just all that shit.
So, I mean,
and like a little dog here or there to juice it up.
Do you trust Rodgers? He said this is exactly what his team needs to kind of fucking spice it up, baby. Fire him up.
It's crazy because you watch both of these teams play and you're like, this is a fucking mismatch. Like, Packers can't throw it to anybody. How are they going to possibly even move the ball enough to compete with this Bills offense? But I mean, what are the Bills going to be? Yeah, I know that I kind of think Packers is an auto bet. Like, this is so inflated. I mean, what's the preseason line on this game?
It was 4. Didn't they say it was 4?
That's crazy. I think so. Yeah. Even the look ahead was 8. And so now it's a 3.5 point move off the look ahead. Green Bay just continues to look worse and worse every week. So are you really finally buying them at rock bottom now?
Well, dude, and Stu Feiner, our dad from fucking Barstool Sports, he always said, if it's a double-digit dog in the NFL, it's an auto bet, no matter who the fuck it is. He always said that shit. And we should ask Ralph Michaels, how often are double-digit dogs covering? Because it's got to be pretty fucking good. At least 55%.
I think he posted something because you know how like we always said if the line's, I think it was 14 or more, we always like that begged the question, like, are those? I think there's something that is a little better when it's right around 10, 11. Because once it gets higher, like I know Matt, like a couple years ago, laid it with the Patriots. It was minus 14 on the road, and they won by like 20. Like oftentimes the Lions, same with I think the Steelers earlier this year had a big one. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've seen the Steelers double-digit win outright. Panthers, the Falcons played the Rams tough earlier. They were 11.5. So yeah, we've seen, like Matt just said. What'd you say, Matt? They're like double-digit favorites.
So that
really,
was 7 or more. It wasn't exactly double digits, but yeah, it was. What game were we talking about with? Oh, the Dallas game.
Dallas game.
Yeah, they are. I'll find it here in a sec. I think it was 7 or more points, 8 and 16 ATS this season. So,
all right, boys, I need a drink. I love you. Bye.
All right.
Late. All right, Dads.
Yeah, how about Chris? Can you get behind this? A double-digit dog in prime time? Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of feels like the Bears last week, where everyone's just down on them. How possibly could they keep this close? Better coach, better team, and I don't know. I mean, historically, it is when you want to take Rodgers, right? When they count them out, and it is a lot of points. I mean, you're telling me that they can lose by 10 and you're going to get a cover? I mean, we'll
lose
see.
By 11 and you're going to get a cover. You lose 31-20 and you cover.
Yeah.
I would just say, and then it was like to reference Kyle's point, I looked it up real quick. So, because you have a Green Bay team, right, who has losses, right? They are averaging 2.7 points in the fourth quarter, right? So usually, like you would expect a team that's a Philadelphia team, right? Philadelphia is right there at 3 points scored in the fourth quarter on average. That makes sense. They're up every single game. They don't need to score, right? Versus now you're looking at a Green Bay team that, right, is coming off and has 4 losses. So 4 times you've been down. And this is just a different, to Kyle's point, like this. They can't complete anything. And so you have 4 losses and you have a Green Bay team that is the 3rd worst team scoring in the fourth quarter. I'm not sure that backdoor's available for Green Bay. It's been that bad. And if it's something like crazy, like, it's a crazy stadium, it's going to be a nuts environment, getting a primetime Sunday night game with Rodgers coming in-house. Like, if there was ever a situation to get blown out and for a defense just to kind of step up and, want to put the hammer down, this is the case that it would be. I mean, it's crazy to think that Aaron Rodgers has 4 losses on the season and they're averaging 2.5 points in the fourth quarter being down. It doesn't make any sense.
I think all those points came against the Patriots.
They've been playing from behind too much. That you gotta. I mean, they just don't have the passing game to go up and down the field. So they're going to have to dink and dunk. They're going to have to run the ball and convert on third downs. He's going to have to hit some of those little slants. And it's going to be, do they have the guys to do it? I think Watson missed practice today. Lazard missed practice today. Cobb's out. Fuck. So it's dangerous, but I think you got to play it. Got to.
It's just a lot of points. I mean, how many times have we been like, oh, it's a lot of points, but man, they got nobody, and then they just went outright. It's like,
yeah,
Carolina.
Not saying that's going to happen, but still,
Carolina Panthers.
They've looked bad, but it's like I feel like this 3-game losing streak isn't as bad, like as some are saying it is.
Giants, Jets, and Washington Commanders are those 3 losses. It's crazy. We have a London game this week. Nobody wanted to talk about the London game. Raiders and Saints. Raiders and Saints is really interesting. I mean, the Saints are kind of another one of those teams that really, I mean, you got like teams like the Saints, the Packers, the Colts, the Browns that are just on these losing streaks that like at 2-4, 2-5, like you got to get your shit together and win a game. I mean, Falcons off the blowout win, Falcons off of getting absolutely murdered. That's an interesting one with that line coming down. We got the Eagles, another double-digit favorite. The Niners, Rams. I mean, Kyle, everybody knows the history between Shanahan and McVay at this point, that the Niners dominate them in the regular season. Like, at what point does that become?
I mean, they're still their defense is getting healthy, but you're still not going to have Eric Armstead, who's the main reason why you couldn't run on them. So without him, you can run on them. Defensively, I mean, both Wards, Hufanga did not look. I mean, it's the Chiefs, but still, like, it's just how long is it going to take for this defense to gel back to what we saw early in the year? But did they really? I guess apart from the Seahawks, who have a top 3 offense, they haven't looked like great against, a great opponent. You could have argued Denver, shut them down, but their offense sucks. Bears, first half, shut them out. Then the rain and everything, deep plays. So, I mean, it's susceptible. I don't think Stafford's, the quarterback to do it. But, of course, I'm not going to actually play the Rams, but I don't know if I can actually bet the Niners, because I just see Niners 7 in a row. He's got his number. But if Armstead was playing, I'd play it for sure.
And we'll see what the Rams have come up with off their bye. I mean, their O-line's still a mess. The left tackle replacing Whitworth is out for the season. I don't know how many centers they've had. They got no running game. They got no receivers outside of Cup. That's going to be – well, they may get Van Jefferson back, though, so maybe that's something. Interesting game. Ravens-Bucks tomorrow night, interesting. The Monday night game, we didn't really talk about that. Browns kind of back against the wall, and Bengals are just covering machines at this point. So lots of good games on deck for Week 8. Keep an eye on everybody's Twitter and see what everybody is on this weekend. And, Dads, let's have a Week 8, all right? Let's bounce back.
Got to. 5-0.